Welcome back to another math video here at Math Rocks with Mr. Cox. In this video, we're going to be looking at polynomial functions like the one up here that's already been in factored form. And we're going to be looking at how to graph this, actually draw more of a sketch than an actual graph. And to do this, we're going to need to find a few things. We're going to need to find the x-intercepts, we're going to need to find the y-intercept, and we're also going to look at what's called end behavior. So stick around and you'll find out more. Let's get it on! So let's go ahead and dive right in here. You're going to be looking to do a few things whenever you make a sketch, and that is you need to find the x-intercepts and the y-intercept, and of course knowing the degree is nice too because that tells you a little bit about the shape. And let's go ahead and let's first look at the x-intercepts. Anytime we want to find the x-intercepts, we know that y must equal 0, which means I can replace f of x with 0, and it means that each of our three factors over here, our sets of parentheses, at least one of them is equal to 0. So if I were to set the first parentheses or factor equal to 0, then I would have to have x equals -2, which means one of our x-intercepts is going to be at -2, 0. Following the logic forward, on the next one, we'd have to have a 1 for x in order to make this parentheses equal to 0. So 1, 0 would be another x-intercept. And the final one would have to be a 3 because 3 minus 3 is 0, so 3, 0. So that's how we get our x-intercepts. If you want to find the y-intercept, you need to set x equal to 0. So if we go up to our equation over here, and this is no longer 0, it's now back to y, we would say y equals, and then we would plug in a 0 every time we see an x. So 0 plus 2 is 2, so our first parentheses is equal to 2. 0 minus 1 is -1, and then in our last parentheses here, 0 minus 3 is -3. And of course, when you multiply those all together, you get 6. So therefore, our y-intercept would be 0, 6. The degree on this polynomial is 3. And that means we're going to have a shape either looking like this one, where we're decreasing as end behavior on the left side, and on the right side, we're increasing. Or maybe it looks something like this, a little bit reversed here, where on the left side it's increasing forever and ever, and on the right side it's decreasing forever and ever. So let's go ahead now and actually put in the x-intercepts and the y-intercept over here in our sketch. So here are our x-intercepts, -2, 0. We have 1, 0, and we have 3, 0. And our x-intercept is going to be up here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then finally, to make our graph, we're only doing a sketch, so all we really need are these points here. Our other points are going to be kind of approximate to where they really belong. But I do know this, between these x-intercepts here, -2, 0, and 1, 0, it must connect through the y-intercept. So maybe our graph looks a little something like this, comes back around, but it must slide through there and looks like this. Likewise, between these two, it's got to come down somewhere and then come back up again and back through. And then this one is just going to go down. So it's going to look kind of like the one that's here on the left here. So our end behavior here is it is decreasing forever and ever. And on this end behavior, it's going to be increasing forever and ever. So that's how you make a graph. It's all about the x-intercepts, the y-intercept, and then kind of doing a little finagling here to figure out what your curve would look like. As always, if you like what you see, please like, comment, or subscribe. Thank you. And now back to part 2. Let's take a look now at something that's a little more complicated. This time we actually have a negative sign out in front. We also have a squared on one of these parentheses over here. So let's go ahead and do this here. Let's find the x-intercepts first. So remember, y would be equal to 0. So that means each of these, if we were to set them equal to 0, will tell us what the x-intercepts are. So here, if we did that, it would be -4. So one of them is going to be -4, 0. This one would be -2, 0. And if you remember from drawing quadratics or parabolas, when you have a squared like this, what's going to happen is you're going to have your x-intercept at 1, 0. And at this spot here, you're going to see kind of a bounce off the x-intercept. So now we have 3 x-intercepts, although this is actually degree 4, and I say that because we have a squared here, so it's really like 2x minus 1. So we'll get back in a minute to what that looks like. To find the y-intercept, we're going to go ahead now and we're going to set x equal to 0. So if we do that, y will be, remember there's a -1 out in front here, so I'm going to put a -1 there. 0 plus 4 is 4. I have 0 plus 2 would be 2. And then 0 minus 1 is -1 and squared. So -1 squared would be 1. 1 times 2 is 2. 2 times 4 is 8. And 8 times that -1 would be a -8. So now we have our y-intercept at 0, -8. Typically what these graphs are going to look like when you have degree 4 is kind of like a W shape. So it's going to look something like this, either heading up on both ends or in behavior on both ends. They're both going in the same direction. Or it might look something like this, a W upside down, which would make kind of an M shape there. So we're looking for something like that to happen in our graph. Let's go ahead and actually plot all these points here. So I'm going to go x-intercepts first. So -4, 0 would be over here, -2, 0 here, 1, 0, where there's going to be a bounce, would be over there. Our y-intercept would be down here at 0, -8. So once again, we're going to have that bounce, and I know between here and here, these two x-intercepts, it's got to cross through that point. So I'm going to go ahead now, and once again, this is a sketch, but I know it's going to look something like this. It's going to bounce off this one back down, so it just barely touches right there, just grazes the x-axis, and then up over here, it's going to go up and back down. So you'll see a sort of a upside down W or M shape here. And once again, this is just a sketch, it's not a graph, and we're just using the important points at the x-intercepts and the y-intercept and trying to get some end behavior going here. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you.